Whenever you're ready.
Hmm?
Whenever you're ready.
Right, okay. Do you want me to just...
Yes, in your own words.
Okay, cool. Right, well, I guess you could say it all started with Teen Wolf. Yeah, Teen Wolf. Loved that film when I was a kid, watched it over and over and over again. Wore that tape out. It was so bold at the time for its particular sets of shots. It was fascinating. But I guess the secret's out now. There's references to it all over the internet. I've done a little bit of research on it myself, and I'm pretty sure that I'm the first person to discover it.
To discover what?
The cock. The climactic scene in Teen Wolf. Big basketball game, pretty decent stadium in a high school. One guy in the background, one extra, whips his junk out. No one notices. Whole auditorium full of people, no one notices. Did you want to be something when you were little?
Sure.
Did you do it?
No.
That's what I thought. I wanted to be that guy. I wanted to be the guy with my junk out in Teen Wolf. People say it was about the fame. It really wasn't. Those people who say it was about fame lack the vision that myself and that man in Teen Wolf shared. We wanted to leave our mark on the world. The first time's the hardest. The year is 1999, school photo day. They take 2 pictures of every class. They put the best one in the yearbook. My plan was to write a particular phrase upon my eyelids and blink during one of these photos. The phrase was "fuck you." I realised it was quite small-minded. I was very young. I paid 3 other guys all of my allowance so that in the second photo they would all blink. Mine would be the better of the 2. They'd have to go with that. And the words "fuck you" would make it into a yearbook. Genius, or so I thought. Now, I took a permanent marker, some mirror, and a lot of patience, managed to get it across my eyelids. Looked great. The real problem came when I had to not blink for half an hour before the photo. Very difficult, but I managed it. The only problem was it left me temporarily blinded, so I didn't see the stairwell on the way to the auditorium. The words were rendered illegible by my tears. I never made it to that photo. It was a setback. I realised that. But I had continued to try over the years with various results until year 10. My next great bit of genius. I was cast as a background dancer in a very terrible production, 42nd Street. I don't know why they make you do these things. Background dancer. At one point during one scene, I would have a twirl and then a kick before heading off stage. I decided that I would stealthily lower my trousers and afford the audience full view of my crack during the twirl. As my sweaty buttocks glistened in the stage lighting, I thought, this must be the happiest moment of my life. The entire thing was recorded. I was one of the first to buy a copy. Imagine my dismay when I noticed that my buttock twirling was obscured by a prop lamppost. It was a setback. Again, another setback. But trials make men of us all. I realised that I'd been aiming far too low. School productions, photos, this was nowhere near what I needed to be achieving. So I set my sights as high as I could. It's not difficult to be an extra in a film, it's difficult to be an extra in a finished film. Crowd scenes aren't done with a shitload of people anymore, it's all CGI. The battle scenes in Return of the King, that's all, it's not dudes in costume, it's not 10,000 fucking orcs stamping around, it's all done with CGI. So nowadays film companies are very wary. They were less wary then, but they are now, especially because of myself. They are very wary of what ends up in a final take. The problem with us is that they don't notice us until the very end, after a take's done. The actors will have had a really great energy, the director will have been on time, the DOP will be playing masterpieces with light, the boom operator manages to not fuck things up, and then there's some fucking idiot in the background of the tape that they didn't see until post, filleting a bollard. It's totally unusable. One of my favourites was having a swastika pin on the underside of my lapels. I would just flip it up during takes. Just nice, simple, not for any love of the Third Reich or Nazi Germany or anything like that. It's just it's simple, easily recognisable, all that sort of stuff. So I flip up the lapels during takes, and the idea would be that it would make through to the final cut, but it didn't. Most of the time it would be too blurry, or in one case, in one film, they just replaced it with the logo for Bad Religion. So I used to do this in things like Annie, The Matrix, The Hunt for Red October, things like that. So I had to scrap that idea once I realised it wasn't working. Another one I tried was in Scary Movie, the first one in particular. I was one of a couple of people who played the Scream Killer, and one of my favourite things to do was just to take tumbles all the time. And the problem with that was that it's really hard to tell whether or not it's me or one of the other folks doing it in the final cut, because we all look the same. This became pretty difficult, and after a while no agency would hire me for love nor money, and I realised that after all this time I still hadn't made my mark. After this I sank into a deep depression, and started masturbating in porno theatres just for kicks. The sad trench-coated lumps of humanity around me, a far cry from the audience as I so rightly deserve. It was after this I decided that I'd have one final crack at it.
And then?
The incident. Cinema had failed me. But no matter. Television was where all the great works of our age are occurring anyway. So I decided to take my art there. Everyone's heard of my exploits on television.
Well, not everyone has.
Alright then. I'll explain it in brief. I appeared on the 7pm project last October. It's a typical panel show. At the end of the show, camera pans out to show various backstage areas and the audience clapping, worshipping these idiots. During the pan out was when I made my move. You can see me just in shot, wearing a Richard Nixon mask, enthusiastically dry humping an Autocue. After a week, they found me. That's when some enterprising douchebag put a looped clip for 10 hours on YouTube. The security tapes of me sneaking around in the back of the set got out. The asshole who sold me the Nixon mask ratted me out. The media circus was brief, thankfully, but the shine was off the apple. They'd stolen my moment. When you called me and asked me to be in your little film, I agreed, and not just because you're paying me. He's paying me. Not just because you're paying me. Like all great philosophers, my ideas have evolved over time. The younger me was a fool, and the mysterious Don Wangler from Teen Wolf had entirely the wrong vision. He wanted the whole world to see his cock. And so did I for a time. But I've realized I don't need the whole world to see my cock. All I need is you. Why show everyone? Why give up the goods early? I'm going to show you, and just you, exactly what years of humiliation and the finest black science can produce. You shall be my herald. You shall go forth and tell others of the wonder that you witnessed today. Ready yourself. Behold, my radiance! Ah!